Thanks for joining us on this once-in-a-lifetime trip to Washington, D.C. Through the WDAY World War II Honor Flight, area veterans had the opportunity to visit the World War II memorial that was built in their honor.
Good evening, everyone. Tonight we are taking an extended look at the WDAY Honor Flight.
Over the last 14 months, we've planned, accepted 750 applications, and taken 586 veterans to Washington, D.C. to see the memorial built for them. A lot of people ask us how the World War II Honor Flight got started. Well, it was kind of a fluke. In the fall of 2006, we happened to see a news story about an honor flight trip out of North Carolina. Later, ABC's World News Tonight named the founder of Honor Flight, Earl Morse, as their Person of the Week. We were so inspired by Morse and others' commitments to flying World War II veterans to see their memorial, we figured if they could do it, we could do it too. So WDAY paired up with Carlson Wagenly Travel Incorporated out of Moorhead to kick off the project. Soon after, Cass County Veterans Service Officer Jim Brent helped us compile a group of the most dedicated volunteers to serve on the Corps Planning Committee. Unfortunately, time was never on our side. After all, it took an astounding 59 years after the war to get the memorial built. Of the 16 million men and women who served, only about 3 million remained to even see a proposed memorial. But finally, in 1993, World War II veterans would get their due when President Clinton authorized the construction of the World War II memorial. After a massive fundraising effort, $197 million and 3 years of construction, the memorial was completed in the spring of 2004. Its placement between the Washington Monument and the Lincoln Memorial is not mere coincidence. It was put there to reflect the importance of World War II in preserving and nationalizing democratic ideals, won under George Washington and defended under Abraham Lincoln. The memorial includes some really special elements. The 56 pillars standing on either side of the memorial represent the 56 U.S. states, territories, and the District of Columbia. And there's the Freedom Wall with its 4,000 gold stars, each star representing 1,000 Americans who lost their lives in World War II. Planning for the World War II WDAY Honor Flight began in the fall of 2006. By January, we started taking applications from World War II veterans. We expected between 200 and 300, but we got hundreds more than that from throughout the tri-state area.
We knew if we had any chance of sending the majority of these veterans, we'd need more than one flight, and we'd need to raise money, a lot of money, about $500,000 to be exact. We enlisted the help of the Fargo JCs and Lance Acres to coordinate our fundraising efforts. And thousands of you responded. School children from around the area held school carnivals. Some sold special hero dog tags or had bowl-a-thons. Senior citizens played their part as well, hosting fundraisers in retirement and nursing homes. And some of you just walked up and handed us donations at 2 different WDAY radio and television telethons at West Acres. Service clubs and local businesses were instrumental in helping us raise the needed money. We even got a little help from the world of show business. Actors and North Dakota natives Jerry Verdun and Josh Dumel came to Fargo to help us out. Both have a personal tie to World War II veterans.
My grandpa's very humble and very, doesn't need anything from anybody. So it was nice. It was nice to at least show him in some way that, I wanted to, let him know how much I appreciate what he'd done for the country.
Unfortunately, this was one of the things he wanted to get to, meaning the World War II Memorial in D.C., and did not have the chance to do it. So all the more reason for me to come and help other people do it.
Our biggest money generator came from our raffle of a 2006 PT Cruiser and 2006 Dodge Durango, courtesy the Dodge and Chrysler dealers groups. About 2,000 of you purchased raffle tickets at $50 apiece in hopes of winning the cars. Before it was over, 2 people drove away with new vehicles, and we made off with $114,000. Once the money was raised and the trips were planned, WDAY reporters and photographers got to have some fun covering the flights. What struck me first was the excitement buzzing through the air at Hector International Airport before the planes left Fargo. The lines were at some points long, but the suitcases were checked and the veterans and their escorts were ready to go.
Anticipation, we're going.
I got my video camera with that I
take pictures all the time myself.
Family members looked with awe at the veterans, so full of excitement for their special trip to Washington, D.C.
It was like Christmas, because he could not sleep last night, waiting for Santa to come this morning.
It is just amazing to watch. They're like little kids. It's great.
That's what happens when you get old. You turn back into a little kid again, I guess.
Some veterans had to be pushed a bit to apply for the flight, unsure of what memories and emotions it would stir.
I have so many mixed emotions, I'll tell you. Yeah, it's just fabulous. So I thought about this for a long time.
And once those memories started coming, they didn't stop. Each trip was made up of a fascinating group of Americans.
Yes, I remember the night that, or the day that they dropped the bomb on Hiroshima. And our hospital was on alert, but we didn't know why.
Before the men and women of World War II even saw the memorial dedicated to their generation, they began searching for a way to express their gratitude to the people who organized, donated to, and supported Honor Flight.
I don't know if you can thank these people enough in words.
Next, we walk the memorial with two men who fought in World War II. One was overwhelmed by the memorial's dedication to those who never made it home from the war.
But first, let's hear from some of the people who financially made the WDAY World War II Honor Flight a great success.
Hi, I'm Todd Ganji, manager at Carlson Wagenli Travel Incorporated in Moorhead. Over the past year, it has been our pleasure for me and my entire office to do our part to show our gratitude to all that served during World War II. It has been so wonderful to meet and travel with our veterans and their loved ones. On behalf of Brenda, Pam, Sina, Trish, and Jill, I want to say thank you, veterans, from Carlson Wagenli Travel Incorporated of Moorhead. Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays.
State Bank and Trust is proud that we could be a part of the very successful Honor Flight program, and we just say thank you to our vets, and we say Merry Christmas to them and to their families.
Dakota Refrigeration is proud to have helped make Honor Flight a reality for many veterans and their families. From all of us at Dakota Refrigeration, Merry Christmas.
Welcome back to the WDAY Honor Flight Special.
World War II veterans lived through battles in the 1940s most of us will only read or hear about. On the second Honor Flight, we witnessed the World War II Memorial's power to pull years of emotions and memories out of the veterans.
Perfect tribute to those of us that were involved.
John Donnelly flew a B-26 bomber over Europe during the war. After walking around the memorial's rainbow pool, he stops near the water's entrance and says he can't hold back the tears.
Think of my buddies. It's rather sad.
Each of the 4,000 stars on the Freedom Wall represent 100 Americans who died in World War II.
These guys that would come from the infantry.
A third of John's fraternity brothers never came home.
I wish that they could see, you know, what this memorial to them. He was in a 26 when he hit the bomb.
But John did come home, and now he's in Washington, D.C. with his daughter. He still has his daily log detailing his missions.
And I grew up seeing those things and never really knowing much about them, but it was great now to know, to hear the stories.
They met us at the airplane with sandwiches, reloaded the plane with bombs, and we took off again right away.
As the fountains flow, so do the memories.
Yesterday morning.
Chester Morvig is a Navy veteran who spent time on the water in the USS Lion.
Picture yourself, somebody, they could point the gun over there, but they're pointing it right at you and you're fighting right back. Go down on that side.
Nowadays, he has a hard time remembering things from day to day.
Well, that's what I'm doing too, wearing out.
But he can recall details of his time at war more than 60 years ago. The memories he says he wants to forget.
And then you look for somebody that's going to take that hold of that stretcher and carry it over to sick bay. Nobody but we and the officer. He grabbed one end and I grabbed the other.
The veterans who earned this memorial's honor are a team.
You had your buddy there.
I think they were all heroes.
Whether you knew him or not.
As the real-life heroes walk along the wall, snapping pictures by their state's pillars, a special moment for the nature lovers from the Midwest.
Look at the geese going over.
One secret to the success of our honor flight is the volunteers, people who stepped forward and made a difference in the lives of our area's World War II veterans. Two amazing volunteers, Lance Akers and Jan Jorgensen, explain what it was like behind the scenes.
Do you know how many parades we've been in?
I probably worked on those 7 days a week, sometimes 8 and 9 hours a day.
We really started to go to work, and then people really started to respond.
People were just so giving. It wasn't really a problem raising the money.
You thought it would be a good idea to get involved, and then when did it hit you like, this is huge, this is going to be a lot of work?
I signed up to do the biographies, and when I realized, I might have to call 20 or 30 people, and we have a time limit.
I think all of a sudden, all of us have the same deer in the headlights kind of look, and it's like we're in over our heads.
It was so exciting that it was okay.
From there on, it was just like a freight train gathering speed. You just don't stop them. It just keeps rolling. So it was great. Each trip, we go in with a clear-cut, defined plan, and then you just leave it at the airport, and then you just kind of take it as it comes, because that's happened every time.
You guys were always on your toes. You were always being pulled in different directions. I mean, what was that like on the trip?
One guy told me, he goes, yeah, you were such a good mother hen.
Literally on the go, nonstop.
The wheelchairs, we had to make sure we didn't lose them.
Behind the scenes, you got that cell phone going, where's that water? We need this now.
And snacks, we worried about the diabetics.
There was a couple of times I was tired, but I was never, oh God, is it going to ever be over? There was never a time like that. It was just like, oh, what's next?
I did not want to disappoint the veterans. I did not want to let them down.
They're an incredible group of men and women, and they deserve a thank you. And this was our way of doing it.
That's why I never stopped.
Lance and Jan were just great, and they were just two of hundreds of volunteers who helped with Honor Flight.
20 people made up the Honor Flight Committee, the core planning group, and support staff. We want to take this time to especially thank Lori Becker, Tracy Briggs, Terry Richardson, Ken Bertrand, Todd Ganji, Dale Ronning, Sean Ferguson, Dave Rice, Carol Anhorn, Jim Brent, Virgil Estenson, Jan Jorgensen, Lance Akers, Keith Kerbaugh, Victor Gelking, Greg Sawyer, Karen Engelter, Mike Vanderveck, Chanel Lendy, Art Nodell, and Barb Nodell. Now, coming up, how one family made its father's trip to the World War II Memorial a very special reunion, and a look at the powerful and influential people who made a point of helping, visiting with, and honoring our veterans.
On behalf of the men and women of the American Legion, we thank our World War II veterans and the entire World War II generation for their patriotism, dedication, and sacrifice. They made it possible for the following generations to live the American dream. The American Legion salutes our World War II veterans.
Thanks to everyone that made the Honor Flight program a success. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year from the members of the West Fargo VFW and Ladies Auxiliary.
On behalf of Bulger Funeral Home, we'd like to thank all the veterans who have served our country and express what an honor it has been to be a part of sponsoring the Honor Flights. Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays.
DS Beverages and Budweiser would like to say thank you to all our vets. For without your sacrifices and bravery, we would all live in a very different world. Happy holidays and cheers. This Bud's for you.
Wives, husbands, daughters, sons, and grandchildren went with veterans to Washington, D.C. WDAY 6 reporter Kevin Wallavend shows us how one family made an unforgettable reunion out of the day.
I want to get a picture of this.
Oh. They flew into Washington, D.C. from around the country.
They must be on. We know they're on there. This is their bus.
From New Mexico, the Twin Cities, and the valley towns of North Dakota.
They got to be coming pretty soon.
Here he comes, here he comes.
Yeah.
On this long-anticipated visit to the World War II Memorial, the 6 children of Karl Haberman came to honor their father, to stand with him and walk beside him on this day.
He's so humble that, for years, how he was highly decorated, we didn't even know. He just came home, started a family.
It's been more than a half-century since Karl was in the South Pacific, but this quiet Morton, North Dakota veteran,
Roosevelt and Truman,
humbly scootered his way around the memorial, remembering those men who didn't come home.
it brings back a lot of memories. But I'm not the hero, it's the ones that were left over there. Yeah, that's really something, isn't it? Isn't that beautiful?
Karl was hoping to bring his wife on this trip, but she recently passed away. And so the children all agreed to fly in to D.C.
We wanted to be here for Dad. And he's an incredible person.
To be with their father at their memorial.
You want to go this way?
It's very emotional. Very. To think of what Dad had gone through and how proud we are of him.
For the Haberman children and others who came with their parents to the World War II Memorial, this trip has been one of healing and closeness, hard to describe. For Karl's children, a history lesson, learning more about a father they've always admired.
We hadn't heard really anything from Dad as far as his time during the war, but he's been able to share a few things just in the last month since he knew he was going on this trip.
Pretty incredible.
Real incredible.
One family's journey.
It's been something I'll never forget.
Everybody ready?
A chance for this father and his children to remember the past while cherishing today.
They're the most wonderful family anybody could have.
An incredible, emotion-filled day.
I don't think there'll ever be a generation like that one.
One last salute from a grateful nation. From Washington, D.C., Kevin Wallaban, WDAY 6 News.
One reason our trips went so smoothly was the help we got from politicians before, during, and after our flights. During committee meetings, staff from Senator Kent Conrad and Senator Byron Dorgan's offices were instrumental in planning our honor flight. At the airport, Governor John Hoeven helped send the veterans on their way. They all say it was important to be part of such a special project.
We've been glad to help out with the logistics of those trips and try to make certain that our veterans had the experience they so richly deserve.
So few of them have been able to come to see this memorial, and yet so many from our region have been able to come out and take a look at what America says about their sacrifice. It is really one of the most inspiring things I've seen.
So at Christmas time, it's wonderful to thank them, wish them all Merry Christmas, and the World War II Honors Flight was just a wonderful way to say thank you and God bless you for all you've done.
In Washington, our groups got the attention of some big-name politicians and journalists. Former Secretary of State Colin Powell and former Senator Bob Dole visited us at the memorial. On the third trip, ABC News veteran Sam Donaldson spoke at the Honor Flight banquet. They all took time to chat with our veterans.
This is a great program, and it's growing and growing as we're getting smaller and smaller. Now, your grandson?
Great-grandson.
Great-grandson. You're an old man.
90.
You know, that was the time when we were on the cusp of losing all of our freedom. And these guys helped save it.
Powell, Dole, and Donaldson all said they were impressed by our community's commitment to sending hundreds of veterans to D.C. Next, we'll talk with a representative for veterans in the FM area to learn more about what Honor Flight means to them.
And you'll see the meeting of a lifetime for two Marines who fought on Iwo Jima when the flag was raised.
Community Bank of Herman Frazee would like to take this time to thank all of our veterans, and especially those World War II veterans that we had the privilege of helping to send on the WDAY Honor Flight. Merry Christmas and best wishes for a prosperous new year. Happy Holidays!
From everyone at Gerdau Industries, we want to thank our World War II veterans. Your sacrifices gave us the freedoms we enjoy today. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to all of America's veterans. The Lions are proud to be a part of Honor Flight helping make the dream of visiting the World War II Memorial come true for our World War II veterans. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
Throughout Honor Flight, area veterans have played an integral part in getting these flights off the ground. Members of the Veterans of Foreign Wars, American Legion, AMVETS, and Disabled American Veterans have given their time, talents, and dollars.
Greg Sawyer is the National Area Supervisor for the Disabled American Vets here in Fargo. He's also a member of the Honor Flight Committee.
So, Greg, when Tracy and the others first approached you and asked you for your help with Honor Flight, I'm wondering, what did you think? Were you eager to help, and why?
When I was first approached, when I attended the meeting with Jim Brennan scheduled, I couldn't help but reflect upon my visits to the World War II Memorial prior to Honor Flight in memory of my father. During those visits, I saw tremendous emotion expressed by all of these World War II veterans, and I couldn't help but, wonder what it would have been like to have my father there with me had he not died when I was younger. And to me, my involvement in this was much more than just being a member of this committee, but it was a tribute to my father to be able to help the people he loved and served with that helped save this great nation.
And Greg, from your point of view, what has the Honor Flight meant to the veterans in our community?
I would have to say in my 33 years working as a DAV National Service Office, I've never seen anything polarize the veterans community as Honor Flight has. For me personally, it gave me an opportunity to work with members of the other organizations who I had never gotten to know or work with. People like Dave Rice and Dale Ronning and Virgil Estison, men that I've come to know and respect as a result of this, and all who are Vietnam veterans. People that I think truly care about veterans and the World War II veteran, and what they bring to the table, if you will, as we went about this, brought an organization and a groundswell amongst all veterans.
Thank you so much, Greg, for everything you've done for Honor Flight and, of course, for being here today.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Now, before the World War II Memorial was built, the Iwo Jima Memorial in Washington, D.C. was the only iconic statue of World War II. It is a tribute to the U.S. Marines who fought on the small island, and two of them met for the first time on Honor Flight 3.
You and I are a few of a kind.
That's not too many left.
No.
Marine veterans Orland Jory and Bob Peterson were both somewhere below the peak of Mount Suribachi on the third day of battle on Iwo Jima.
You were too. We were scheduled to go to Japan,
The Iwo Jima Memorial, modeled after the famous picture taken of the second group of flag raisers, reminds Jory and Peterson of the moments after the first flag was raised on the highest point of the island.
All the ships at sea that were all around us, and the troop ships and everything, start blowing the horn.
But a lot of people yelling, watching the old glory go up, see. And
I was just happy that that was over, that we didn't have to think about being shot from unknown places.
Well, I thought it's over, what we're done now. We can go home.
Was it?
No, not quite.
U.S. forces fought on Iwo Jima for about a month after the flag was raised.
You just push on and push on.
Jory and Peterson both say they were almost killed more than once on the island. Peterson woke up to find a chunk of metal from an explosion next to his head.
Oh, Peterson, we thought you were killed. And I said, well, thanks for checking on me.
He said, don't go. He didn't more than say that. Mortar hit that truck and away she went.
7,000 Americans are believed to have died on Iwo, including 3 of the men in the famous photograph. Jory and Peterson hope the sacrifices made on the island will live on through their stories and the memorial. In Washington, D.C., Sarah Klopacki, WDAY 6 News. Coming up, a veteran who sat down to take a break at our nation's mall ended up having the most memorable moment of his trip.
Then we welcome home our World War II veterans with a celebration most have never received. And we'll have details on WDAY's 4th bonus honor flight.
Merry Christmas. On behalf of Francis J. Beaton, Chapter Number 1 of the Disabled American Veterans and our auxiliary, I'd like to thank the World War II veterans who participated in Honor Flight this past year. I'd also like to thank WDAY for their participation and sponsorship of the program. So on behalf of all of us, I'd like to wish you a Merry Christmas and a happy and joyous New Year.
On behalf of the Fargo JCs, I would like to wish all of our World War II veterans a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Thank you for your service.
Teamsters Local 116 wants to thank our World War II veterans. Your sacrifices gave us the freedoms we enjoy today. On behalf of Dakota Supply Group, we want to thank our veterans for their service to our country.
From Can-Am Cares, it's been an honor to be involved in sponsoring this mission to send veterans to Washington, D.C. Happy holidays to all of America's veterans. The Harold and Dorothy Madsen Foundation is proud to be part of Honor Flight, helping make the dream of visiting the World War II Memorial come true for our World War II veterans. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
Each honor flight was jam-packed with planned activities. The veterans, most in their 80s, spent hours walking, so at times they needed a little rest.
And when one vet decided to sit down for a moment, he experienced something spectacular.
Well, I was just pooped. I was too tired.
After walking the steps of the Lincoln Memorial in September, Al Kundert took a seat and his son Kai went to the Vietnam Memorial. That's when Al got a surprise. A group of people from Illinois noticed by Al's shirt and hat that he fought in World War II, so they stopped to visit.
Probably the best part was coming back from my little stroll and finding out Dad was now a rock star. Got so much attention and that he deserved from a group of people that honestly appreciated.
The group asked Al about his time at war. He was a navigator in a B-29 Superfortress.
One night mission over Yokohama, I remember it clearly.
Al went on 25 missions in the B-29, spending about 15 hours in the plane each time. That includes the night enemies lit Al's plane with spotlights and started shooting.
I don't think I was shaking or anything like that because they missed us, They didn't hit us. It was light in the airplane for a while, but they didn't hit us.
Al says he wasn't scared. He was so young and thought he was invincible.
I was 19 years old at the time, and I was responsible for getting this $1 million airplane there and back.
Al joined the Army at age 18 and grew up fast. Looking back at that time, because of a group of young strangers, was very moving for Al.
They were so sincere, and it was really refreshing to see young people that were concerned about patriotism and how it was during the World War II era. It was an exceptional time. For 60 years, it's not really been noticed. Everybody did it, there was no big thing.
But this group believes the sacrifices made during World War II are a big thing, and they made sure Al knew it.
Like I said, the moment made the trip worthwhile.
And that spirit continued when the veterans flew back to Fargo.
Ready, set, forward!
The honor flight groups were welcomed home with big celebrations. Most World War II soldiers came home from the war and got right back to regular life, so they never got a welcome home party quite like this.
This reception now when we landed here was great with the band and all this big crowd of people. It just brought tears to your eyes.
Now, because the first 3 honor flights have been such a big success, a lot of people have asked us about the future of honor flight. Well, we are planning a 4th bonus trip in May of 2008. It is strictly to take veterans who are still on our waiting list or were too ill to make the previous flights. To make our 4th bonus trip a reality, we do need a little bit of help. We're about $50,000 short of completely paying for this 4th trip. Will you please consider making a donation? You can do so by mailing a check to the address you see on your screen. Now, if you or a World War II veteran you know are interested in applying for other honor flights out of the tri-state area, all you need to do is go to the national website honorflight.org or call the number on your screen. Thank you so much for joining us for our Honor Flight special tonight. You can watch this show again on Saturday after the 6 o'clock news.
And from all of us here at WDAY and our major Honor Flight sponsors, have a great night and happy holidays. We'll leave you now with a collection of sights and sounds from Honor Flight by photographer Jason Aldean.
Observe the memories of our fallen comrades. Keeps things fresh in our memories for not only us, but for you people and for the younger people. I think it's something that should go on and on forever.
As you look around and see all of the stars and
all the names and things, and all these young men that have given their life for their country, it just does something.